Okay, I'm gonna hope my webcam's working because I can't see it. But this is my tic-tac-toe website. What are GMOs? They're organisms that are created by splicing and removing different traits in an organism's DNA. Um, so, in this website, I'm going to talk about genetically modified plants. Uh, a big example of GMOs is corn, soy, and cotton, which over 90% of corn, soy, and cotton in the U.S. is genetically modified, which I thought was interesting. And also, 80% of foods in supermarkets contain genetically modified ingredients, which is an estimate. But yeah, so benefits and negatives that people talk about. So here are some pros. So one of the biggest pros is that it has easier, more efficient farming. Um, so it's one of the biggest arguments. If you can increase the output of crops, you can make those crops last longer, like not get killed by things. It just uh, it just helps a lot. And there's another thing about how GMOs may be able to overcome the world hunger crisis, but that's really controversial. So, longer shelf life. So the first GMO crop was actually a tomato. And here is a picture of, so these are the controls, and these are genetically modified tomatoes. It's just a tomato that was meant to keep longer in stores, but this makes it so it's cheaper for stores to have them. You can have them longer. Just having them be around longer is a lot better, so you don't have to throw anything out because it's rotten. So also you can genetically modified crops. A lot of them are modified to be more nutritious. So just anything like essential amino acids, carbohydrates, anything like that. So not only is it a larger produce, a longer lasting produce, it's also more nutritious. And then another one is reduction of pesticide use. So GMOs actually do have a helpful benefit on the environment, um, because they are modified to be resistant to pests, not pesticides. Pesticides are what farmers use on regular crops, which can end up polluting the environment and even creating super pests. I don't know if I mentioned it here, but that's another thing is that it's in this thing somewhere. Super weeds and super pests, but super weeds. Sorry. Um, so those are the more positive traits. These are the negatives. So crossbreeding with wild population. If you crossbreed with the original plants, this could impact the environment, as in like making a new invasive species, or or just something bad on the environment. But it's really not that researched, and many people think that we need to know more about the effects on wild populations. Allergic reactions. So some people have allergies to GMOs. That's pretty simple. Uh, it's just some people can't eat them, or some certain GMOs. So loss of original species and genes. So one of the biggest examples that that the source brought up was that if you introduce a genetically modified species, it could end up like completely dropping the regular species off the market and just making it like, I don't know, like evolving it out of the system or something. It'll stop that plant from being around, and there could be genes in that plant that would be really useful, like if a disease came around, or like some crop killing infection came around, not a disease, I don't know why I said disease, and it started killing crops. The original plants may have a gene for that we might want. And also monopolizes seed companies. So GMO seeds are expensive. The best way to make a profit is by using GMO seeds, but it's the biggest seed companies that make the GMO seeds. It just gives them more of a share. So, yeah, one of the sources said that like most of food production around the world is controlled by a few companies. which is kind of scary to think about. Well, not. It's just it's a lot of control for a company to have. So ethics and impacts. Genetics may have overwhelming positives. There's also negatives and potential negatives, and there's also a lot of ethical problems. So a lot of religions disagree with GMOs because they're against um, just the religion. I mean, they're what your higher power gave you. You shouldn't be messing with that. Um, I also, though there are ethics and stuff, I do feel like that genetically modifying plants is where evolution is supposed to go. Many think that GMO can solve the hunger crisis. A large majority of people believe GMOs. Okay, there's a lot of people who believe GMOs upsides outweigh the costs. And yeah, they haven't solved world hunger yet. We feel their effects every day. So if you go to the store, there's gonna be a lot more expensive organic stuff and then cheaper GMO stuff. And I always buy the cheaper stuff because it's cheaper and it's not that different. But yeah, so it looks like we're heading towards a more GMO future, and I'm actually kind of excited for that. So yeah, they look promising, and yeah, I think they're a good idea. And here are my sources. I know the video went really long, and I didn't mean to do that, but I will leave a link to this website if you want to see where all these sources go, all these four sources go. And yeah, that'll be it.